to Jews in the Media.
Oh, yeah.
The best podcast by Jews, for Jews, and non-Jews, and whatever the hell's for whatever the hell for whatever reason. The show where we talk about shit and stuff and things.
Oh, shit now?
Yeah, I'm adding shit. I'm adding shit to the thing.
As far as I knew, it was actually things and stuff.
And stuff and things, but now I'm officially adding shit and stuff and things. And
Could we
things
make it
and
progressive? And there would be a new thing each week?
Sure, we can do whatever the hell we want.
Wow.
We're Jews in the media.
Like wow, I don't even know. I would need to actually calculate that, but in, let's say, like 5 years, the podcast is just going to be an introduction. The entire thing is just an introduction.
Yeah, by then we'll be doing 2 hours. So it'll be the first hour will just be the introduction. Then we'll do like 5 minutes of show, and hopefully by then we'll have an advertiser or a sponsor or something. And then we'll do like 50 minutes of commercial.
The morning drive show is just the introduction. The entire thing is the introduction.
Yep, we're gonna turn our podcast into the exact same thing that killed broadcast radio.
Drive all the way from the north to the south of Israel. Is that 9 hours? 9-hour drive?
I don't think so.
I think it's
like 7. I could do it.
From Metula to Eilat.
Well, from Eilat,
I think it's like 9 hours.
From Eilat to Beersheba is about 3.5 hours. To Rishon would be another hour. Let's say an hour and 15 minutes. So that's 3.5, 4.5, 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Maybe I'm thinking by public transport. Is 9 hours.
Public transport, it can take a day and a half.
It could take a couple of weeks.
I am so glad I don't have to take the bus anymore.
Oh, my God.
First of all, I took no end of punishment from my friends in the States, okay, making fun of me for having to ride the bus.
Because people don't really understand that, we live in a country. Okay. The public transportation is all operated by people who don't know how to drive, who are like just pissed off teenagers who just got like a Ferrari. They're driving a bus like a Ferrari, but there is like a well-established public transportation system here. Unlike like in Kansas City, it's not even possible to not have a car. Like
Israel is a very crowded country. There's a lot of people here.
Exactly.
The infrastructure really can't handle, like everyone in the United States having. I mean, New York City. I don't know what it's like in living inside
it's well spread out in Kansas City.
Inside of Kansas City proper. Or
I
whatever.
lived like a half an hour outside of the city. Like I say, I'm from Kansas City, but I'm from Overland Park. And
look, we talked about this when you were talking. When I was joking around and saying you should push for a company car. Okay.
There's no parking in Tel Aviv.
Exactly. There's no room for a car.
There's a parking garage nearby, but like
you have to use public transportation or a bicycle to get by in this city.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to have an apartment with parking.
Yeah, and the bike is even more convenient because I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about a license. I don't have to worry about insurance. I don't have to worry about gas. I plug it in.
You just got to worry about idiots running you over with their car. Or stepping out in front of you.
No, but see, that's the whole thing. I've lived here long enough to know to look over my shoulder. I think this is one thing that contributes to me not really having any back or neck pain. I'm constantly moving my neck, looking over my shoulders, because I know, and that's why I understood. When I first came here in '93, one of the jokes that people were telling, and then I started telling myself, the first thing that an Israeli does when he looks for a new car. Check the horn. Doesn't matter anything else. Just does the horn work? And I noticed this myself, and I do this also when I'm on my bike. I come to an intersection and I ring my bell, or I honk my horn, because I know that other people are not looking. So it's sort of it's beyond a get out of my way. It's a hey, I'm on my way. Watch out, because I know that people aren't looking. Or somebody's in front of me and they, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, they decide to swerve into, walking wherever, just randomly without looking to walk in front of me. So I constantly ring the bell. But it's so much more convenient in Tel Aviv, living in Tel Aviv, than having a car. I just don't have nowhere to park. I have nothing to do with a car here. Now, having a license is great because I could rent a car and I could travel outside of the city, but,
So how often do you actually get outside of the city? When was the last time you rented a car and went somewhere?
Why?
Not counting like me picking you up and driving you to my house. Or
are we talking about the validity of my license?
No, we are not. When was last time you rented a car and left Tel Aviv?
Okay, so we are talking about the validity of my license.
Why is that about the validity of your license?
Because I don't have a valid license.
Wait a minute. All right, back this up for a second. Let me explain. You did the Army here, right?
I did.
Okay. What did you do in the Army?
Was I a truck driver?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I was a truck driver.
You were a truck driver? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Yes, I was a truck driver.
You were a truck driver. Right.
Yes.
How many options did you have for what you could do in the Army?
I had like 4 options. I could be an artillery loader.
Mm-hmm.
I could be like a caterpillar or like a.
You mean like a plowed? A forklift? Not a forklift.
No, caterpillar. Inching along on the floor, on the ground.
Just a little furry green caterpillar going around. I didn't know the Army could do that.
I was thinking of the brown one with the red spots.
Ah.
We used to have those in Kansas City.
I
imagine they still have them in Kansas City.
Drop you in with a very tiny parachute behind enemy lines, and you just inch along.
Yeah, it was like they had a valmorification process where they could turn me into a caterpillar. No, like a bulldozer driver or something.
Okay.
Or some maintenance something or other, but nobody signed up for it, so they scrapped that one. I was here in the country for more than a year, and at the time there was no other way of getting a license other than going through all of the courses all over again. And I had a license already for like 12 years. So I was confident enough that I was a better driver than pretty much any Israeli. So I don't know. I think you can kind of say the same too, though. Just with our experiencing, driving.
I would never say that our native Israeli brethren are horrible drivers. I would never say that.
You know what? Actually, it's funny. It's not really people that I know.
I might say most of them suck, but I wouldn't say the other thing.
But it's not really people that I know. It's just random other people, because the people that I drive with is
get back to the Army thing.
So yeah, I was able to get a free license from the Army, but the license was only valid for like 6 months or something after the Army. And I didn't really pay attention to that because I didn't imagine that that existed. So licenses that only lasted 6 months.
Your license expired basically 10 years ago?
Kinda.
And when did you realize this?
So anyway,
no. I would like a year. Okay, I don't need a month or a day. I need a year that you realized your license had expired.
I don't remember. I didn't actually even know.
Was it this year? You realized?
No. But it was a couple of years after it expired that I actually realized that it was expired. I didn't actually know. So that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I had driven on an invalid license, but obviously, I didn't break any rules.
Except driving.
I didn't.
Driving without a valid license.
I didn't break any traffic laws. In that I came to a full stop at a stop sign. I used my turn signal. I didn't change lanes during the middle of an intersection. I used my turn signal within 400 meters of a turn on the highway, or 100
Did you obey the
meters.
Speed limit?
I did.
Strike two.
Yielded properly. But I didn't raise suspicion. I didn't raise the eyes of anyone. I mean, this wasn't intentional. This is just
you should have raised the eye because you were doing everything the opposite way of what everyone else was doing.
That's true. I definitely did stand out like a sore thumb.
A big red fucking flag on top of your car. Hey, look at me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what this turn signal thing is for.
Exactly. Well, I know police officers in the States, at least. Where did I hear that? I think maybe it was in a movie. I don't know. But they said police officers often look for people who are obeying the law to the nail.
Oh yeah,
because that's suspicious.
Well, look, have you ever been guilty and find a cop behind you? All of a sudden, your hands are at 10 and 2. Your eyes are fucking straight ahead. You got one eye on that needle, making sure you're doing exactly the right speed. It's just out of fear. Your heart's beating 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, not that that's ever happened to me because I've never done anything.
Me neither. But in the States, the cops have a different attitude because they have, here. All of the police officers, or ostensibly everyone in the country, I think to be a police officer you have to have served in the military. But we have a draft, so you don't.
No, that's sorry, that's not accurate because I think you can become a police officer instead of doing the Army.
There are
you can do your
Arab,
national service in the Army.
Well, there are Arab police
The
officers.
police,
there's
service.
But there's Arab police officers.
Sure.
So A, that makes that not true.
There's
and
Arabs
B,
in the country. We should have Arab police officers.
And B, that makes it not an apartheid state. But that's different discussion.
We don't have that conversation.
No, the majority of the police officers here have had some sort of a rank, so it's not really, they're not power happy and they're not power hungry, So it's different. They're kind of lazy, if you will. I mean, they don't.
Who's lazy? Israeli police officers or American police officers?
Israeli police officers.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure what we were talking about. Now, I would like to officially say that I would never say anything horrible, and I disagree with you fully. I think the Israeli police officers are the greatest, most patriotic, hardworking citizens there are in Israel, and I support them fully.
Right. So, but in the States, obviously, on the other hand, you fear the police, and you really do. And I realize this when I go back to the States, when I do. And they're really on the prowl. Here, the police officers drive with the lights on, so you know that they're here to help. They're here for you. They're not like trying to hide out, with a slim light bar on the top of the car.
No, they make it so easy here to speed and get away with everything. Because let's say you were speeding.
Because it's a huge beacon on the top of their car.
Let's say you were speeding.
From miles away.
Let's say you were doing 90 miles an hour, okay? Or 130, 150 kilometers an hour. You can see off in the distance. You can see that cop light in front of you or behind you.
Right.
You've got advanced warning. In the States, I think they purposely build the highways with like these little spaces next to bridges and everything.
Speed traps, and they put the billboards just there. Oh yeah.
All of a sudden you're just you're 3 miles down the road, and all of a sudden there's a cop behind you, and you're like, what the? Where the hell did he come from? I know at times, in Jersey, we got the state troopers.
Right.
And they are some badass motherfuckers. They are ninjas, man. They hide in trees. They have their cars in trees. I don't mean like mixed in with on top of fucking trees. These guys are fucking ninjas. All of a sudden, bam, you're pulled over, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
On top of trees?
On top of trees. That's how ninja they are.
Explain on top of trees.
Like on the top. They're like hanging from the branches of the trees in the cop car. They are ninja.
That would not be on top of the trees.
On top, on the top, on the cola of the tree or whatever hell you
were saying
call that.
If they're hanging from anything, then they're already not on the top. They're hanging from something maybe above the tree.
Levels of the motherfucking tree. They're dangerous. They hang out in packs.
Trees are pretty strong, but will they hold like a
packs
cop
of police cop cars?
Well, I guess the tree held the what was that, a Jeep? In Jurassic Park, I forget what it was. It's a Jeep. No, it was a Ford Explorer.
Yeah,
it was Ford Explorers.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah,
no, it's a different world. It's definitely a different world. But they I don't know. Driving here is obviously. I don't think that makes it any easier or worse.
You know what?
I never really
I
broke
gotta be honest with you. I don't really. The more I think about it, and I was just thinking about it this morning or yesterday on the way to work, but I really don't think that as much as I make fun of them and everything, Israeli drivers, the more I think about it, I got a friend who, you're getting off at a clover leaf. Okay.
Right.
But let's say, like here you have like the guardrail and stuff, but I know of spots in New Jersey where you're going around the cloverleaf, but it's like grass. Okay. It's like a grass field. Okay. And you're driving around this field. And I have a friend who I can't say that he still does it, but used to regularly just drive across this field, okay, to cut 15 minutes off. He was that jerk off. I mean, I've never seen, here you have the guys that go off road and everything else and go through the fields. Okay, he would go right through the middle of the thing and just do that.
That's funny that you say. There was actually a study.
There are plenty of horrible drivers in the United States, but it's just that we're here, and road rage only makes you focus on the here and now. And I drive to work every day. So I have a tendency to only really think about what I see now. Although it does seem that the things they do here are more outrageous for the most part. My one friend that used to drive across the field like that he was, that was definitely an extreme. Okay,
but at the same time, in the States, yeah, there's some people who are real bastards or whatever, but there's also the majority of people who are just overly courteous, in that you're driving down the highway, and yeah, we've all seen this. We've all gone through this. You're driving down the highway, and you see a sign that says "Lane ends in 1,000 feet." Well, so you you merge in. Why? Why would you merge in? You have 1,000 feet. Now, I don't want to be the asshole who's jumping to the front of the line, but you have 1,000 feet. Why cause a bottleneck 1,000 feet ago? It's going to happen anyway. You understand? It's going to happen anyway. So waiting and then seeing somebody pass you, it only pisses you off because you weren't. I mean, you're thinking that you're being very nice about it. No. Just drive forward, and this is what was studied when they did some further traffic analysis, understanding how traffic works, and they said no, continue driving, don't merge so early. Merge, understand that you have 1,000 feet to merge throughout those 1,000 feet. Merge, but you don't need to merge right now because everybody tries to merge at the same time, and then you create a bottleneck. So that asshole that's driving to the front of the line is not an asshole. He's actually helping out.
You were at the movie theater, okay, and you're at the concession stand. You're going to get popcorn, and there's two lines. Okay, and you get into it, but there's only one cash register. Okay, and the person is taking one person from each line at a time. Okay, you wouldn't then realize that, I'm just going to get into the first line. You would stay where you are until you got to the front, and then you would okay? Because if you did that, all that's going to happen is the next person from the line you were in is going to step forward.
Yeah, you're
now
not
actually
nice
going to be
this.
further away from where you were. You've actually just given up your spot and said, "Please go ahead of me to someone." Okay, and when you're driving, when you're driving, and you get in the opposite lane before the merge comes, okay, you cause the people there to hit their brakes, which causes the people behind them. It causes a chain reaction that causes an even worse jam up.
Yes,
which you're supposed to, but people don't know how to properly merge. They don't understand the concept of. If your lane is ending, it is your responsibility to speed up and make sure that you are going at a proper speed, okay, to merge into the other lane properly. But it is also the responsibility of the person whose lane is being merged into, okay, to slow down a little bit and make room for that other person. The whole thing can be done with just giving it a little extra gas or just removing your foot off of the gas for a couple of seconds. You'll slow down enough that you'll be now giving that person space to move over. And it happens so, if it's done correctly, it happens so seamless, okay, that you almost don't need to slow down
right
to the almost standstill point. You can move at a decent speed and do a proper merge.
But this
that's
requires
not what
everybody
happens.
to
Everyone
communicate.
has to be on everyone's ass, and everyone wants to push and shove and go around and everything else.
And
you're merging, and now someone wants to come around and turn the third lane.
Right, and it's one extreme or the other. Either you're too nice
Savages.
or you're too pushy. I told you when I was driving down.
Nothing.
When I was driving down Highway 4.
Never heard this before.
In front of Binyamina, there's a highway, and there's a reasonable village. It's not quite a city, but it's a town or whatever.
Where is this?
Binyamina. At the intersection of Binyamina and Highway 4, there's a gas station on one side, and some other stuff, and then there's the actual entrance to the city. And so it's obviously this city. It's obviously this smaller road, and there's a traffic light, and then there's the main highway. 60 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour highway, whatever it is at that intersection, whatever. So I'm at the light, getting ready to turn onto the highway, and as I'm waiting, I'm at a fucking red light. So I'm waiting, and some guy stops at a green light to let me go. Thank you so much. You're a sweetheart. Love you. Keep fucking driving. You're creating a traffic jam by being too nice.
Wait, what happened? The guy stopped at a green light?
Yeah, he was probably stoned or something, wasn't paying attention, confused red and green. I don't know. But he stopped for me, and he actually waved for me to go. Why? You were going 50
You were walking
miles
across
an hour.
the street?
No,
across the road?
I was driving.
You were at a red light?
I was at a red light. And this guy had a green light, and he stopped for me. Like, thank you so much, but keep driving.
No, I would not say thank you so much. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No,
I would be laughing at the idiot stopped at the green light.
He was a good 70 feet away from me, because I was on the far, and there's there's a median anyway. But I honked at him like, go. I'm not going to run a red light for you, like, for you to be nice to me. I don't know. I just don't get it. It's
probably a cop trying to trap you.
You know what? Actually, that did happen. I did get a ticket once for that. There was a cop riding my ass outside Kansas City, like country roads. He didn't have his light bar on, and that
road. Oh, sorry.
Yes. And he was riding my ass, and like at a point he passed me. But then he was stopped on the side of the road, so I ended up passing him. And then he came back up behind me. It was like 40 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and I was going 36, 37. You go the speed limit, and then they bust you, so you have to go like 2 miles over. And he starts riding my ass like he was good, so 5 feet from my car.
Like a marked
I didn't
car
want him to hit me, so I'm not going to.
Did you like you said it was a cop? He had like the lights, or
it was inside. It was on the visors.
Okay, so you could see that it was a cop.
No.
Oh, you couldn't see them?
No. It was the ones that attached to the visors.
Yeah, those guys are dicks.
The headboard visors. So yeah, he's riding my ass. I'm not gonna stop, and then he's gonna hit me because I don't know what the hell's going on. So I speed up, and then the lights go on. What a fucking dick! Like, why? That's because he needed to meet quota. They don't have quota in Israel.
He was probably waiting to pull you over anyway.
I had nothing against me. I had nothing on me. Nothing happened.
You weren't
there.
speeding at all?
I sped to get away from him.
You weren't speeding
so
beforehand? Before?
No, that was the whole point. I was speeding.
I
was going 37 miles an hour.
Is that area known for being really bad with the cops?
It's Clare Road. I'll show you this.
You don't need to show me.
There's
I'll believe
there's nothing anywhere nearby. I finished work and I just went for a drive because I like driving. There was nothing incriminating involved in any way. He was just riding my ass.
in Jersey.
In a Ford Taurus. I was driving a Ford Taurus. I wasn't even driving like a Civic or a whatever, other. I don't know.
In Jersey, there are areas where there are some towns where the cops are just known to be really bad.
No,
if you go 2 miles an hour over the speed limit in some of these places,
if you go,
they will pull you over. Now, the town next to Kenilworth, okay, the main street is called the Boulevard.
No, it's not.
When I first got my license, I was driving my mom's car, and me and my friend were driving up the Boulevard, and there's a car behind us. And I'm joking around with my friend. I says, I think there's a cop behind us. And he's like, oh, what should we do? I says, I don't know. Let's see what happens. And I thought I was kind of joking, and I floored it.
you actually did.
All right, and I start fucking tearing ass down the boulevard. I'm doing like 55 miles an hour in a 25 zone in an area that is known where the cops are really badass. Now the good thing was I knew for a fact that it was my mom's car. I knew there was nothing under the seats or someone to drop. I knew I was in a 100% safe car. No empty beer cans in the trunk or nothing. And all of a sudden, like, the guy's lights go on, and it's like, woo! I was like, holy shit, that really was a cop. I told my friend I was joking around. I didn't think it was a cop. I had no idea, and it was an unmarked cop car. And
wow.
he pulled me over, and he starts, why were you whatever? And I said, oh, okay, Kenilworth police were known to be real dickheads, and they would pull you over if you were going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit, and they would pull you out of the car, search your car, and give you a ticket. If you were a young kid.
Well, because again, they have to meet quota, and that's an easy quota to meet.
Well, for the most part, they were looking for drugs. They thought that if they pulled over, young kids, they
have certain amounts that they need to, certain numbers that they need.
They were racially
they have to make a certain number of arrests.
They were racially profiling, and let's face it, they were accurately racially profiling because most of those kids had I'm saying those kids had weed and stuff on them or whatever, and often got arrested because of these things. It wasn't just quota. It was fish in a barrel more than anything, I guess. Teenagers in suburban America. Oh my God, they've got drugs on them.
There's
what a shot
in Kansas City. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
More importantly, wait.
There really was a big point to this story. So, the whole point, this town was really known for busting the chops and giving tickets and shit. And so I told the cop that I'm Jewish and that some kids had driven alongside of us and were yelling anti-Semitic slurs just a couple miles back. And I thought that was who was behind me, and that's why I sped away with trying to get away with them. And hand to God, I got away with it. He was like, okay. He somehow believed me. I did not get a ticket.
Well, bless you, my son. Praise the Lord.
I have a witness. We can call. We can text him on Facebook. I'll never forget that. I have never been able to pull anything or get away with anything like that ever since. Then again, I never tried to pull the anti-Semitic card. That was the only time I did it, and it worked. I guess it was the showing cleavage equivalent of being a Jew.
I thought you were saying you showed him cleavage.
Yes, I did that too. Actually, I've done that before. It didn't work so well for me.
Moving on. No, I was going to say because you mentioned the speed trap, and it reminded me in when the casinos came to Kansas City. They have to. I don't know what the laws are like in Jersey or how it works in Atlantic City. Can you
gamble?
No, but do they need to be like on? Is it like a specific ground? Like in Kansas City, they need to be on the water. There needs to be water surrounding them.
There's none of that.
To the extent that they're sitting on a pedestal, a concrete pedestal that was built, and water was flooded around them.
Yeah, no,
that counts.
I understand that. It's like I think in Louisiana that on the river boats you have to be on the river to actually do it. I don't think you can be docked.
There actually was a casino, unless there still is. There was a casino in Eilat that was on a riverboat, on a Red Sea boat.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
But there was a city because to get to there, there's this wide strip of land, and it's not even all that thick. It's not even all that wide. It's like, in some areas like a block or 2 blocks wide. But those 2 blocks, the main street that goes down into there is something like 45 miles an hour, and then drops to 25. Instantly drops to 25 miles an hour. Just like that. There's no decrease. There's no gradual decrease. And the entire city is set up for tickets. That's the only thing they do. That's the only income. I imagine, maybe they have some restaurants close to the casinos in Kansas City, city of Randolph.
For some reason, I thought we were still in a lot. Okay.
Right. But yeah, and now it makes me wonder because they have these quotas. They're there to make money. Listen, the show is called Jews in the Media. We can embrace the fact that we're Jews. We love money. Whether we have it or not, we do love money. I mean,
I love money.
Who doesn't love money?
I don't have any, but I'd like to have some.
Let's be honest though. Who doesn't love money? But let's embrace the stereotype and say, okay, we love money.
Yes, we are Jew-hungry money.
Jews love money.
We are Jew-hungry money. No, we are money-hungry Jews.
Jews love money. Okay. So why don't we embrace that and start to actually take that into consideration when we get into the police activity? Because they don't have a quota. I see this happen so often here in Israel, where you'll have people parked on the side of the road in a no parking zone, and I'll see police drive by. They just don't care. This is money. This is money. By giving this person a ticket, not only are you teaching this person to realize that, you have to kind of actually respect the law, but it's also going to bring in revenue for the city, and you can, use that to clean up the city, to build whatever parks or whatever.
Could you imagine the fear that would instill in the hearts of Israelis if they were to create a highway patrol here in Israel?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Only job was to go up and down and ticket people.
That's what I'm saying. There needs to be a common ground because there's, it's again,
not that I necessarily want that.
It's again so black and white. In the States, you have the cops who are so overpowering, and the here the cops just do almost nothing whatsoever. There's the side where you abuse the power, and there's the side where you don't use the power at all. There's got to be a common ground, but whatever. I don't know. Gun control?
No.
Does anybody actually believe, though, that the government wants to take away all of your guns? Do people actually believe that, or is that just what's happening in what the news says? Because I don't really watch mainstream news.
There are people that want to take away all our guns.
Who?
People that are anti. I'm not necessarily saying the government. Okay, not the government. There are people that want everyone's guns taken away. There are people that sit there and say, "Oh, look what they did in."
Yeah, but that's not the government. That doesn't matter.
No. I'm
There's
not
people
saying
that want
the
free
government.
guns for everyone.
So there are people. Well,
why waste your time talking about people?
I would like 3 guns for every
free
person.
Oh,
I want free guns for every person. Oh, fuck you. Or at least for me.
No, but okay. So there are people who say this. There's people who say that what is it? Fags doom nations was. I love that line from the Westboro Baptist Church. Like, there's people who say a lot of things, but who cares? They're not in fucking power, so it doesn't matter. Does anyone in government actually want to take away all guns? I don't think that exists.
Well, I don't necessarily think that there might not necessarily be a congressman or whatever that thinks that would be pro, repealing the Second Amendment. But that's not necessarily. I don't think the same as what we're talking about either.
Actually filing the gun registration papers when a gun is purchased, actually filing those should be a requirement. That should be a law that those are filed, because they're not, and gun records are lost. And the gun show loophole, I'm not entirely 100% on it. I don't know all of the facts, so I can't really say.
It is my understanding that the gun show loophole isn't actually a loophole. Okay, that's just a term that's used, that's given to something to make it sound like something.
But I think it bypasses the 5-day waiting rule.
What it is that some people don't follow the laws. Okay,
if they're not following the laws, that needs to be enforced.
I'll do this. I won't submit the pay. Well, yeah, we'll just do it on the side. Unfortunately, that does happen. But but no law is going to stop someone who's breaking the law from breaking the law. That is my understanding of the gun show loophole. If you go to a gun show, if you go to a gun show, you are still required, okay, to wait, go through a federal check and a waiting period. I don't know exactly what the waiting period is because it differs from area to area, but it is mandatory that there is a waiting period. There is a check. Unfortunately, some people don't follow the rules.
I've been to gun shows. I don't remember how it worked. I know a lot of times. Well, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
There was a comedian a couple of years ago, and this is why I know the little bit that I know about this, okay? And I'm not saying my information is necessarily 1,000% accurate.
Yeah, everybody's heard something.
No. There was a comedian, and he was left, and he wanted to go and prove. He wanted to create a video that would go out and prove how easy it is to go to these shows and get a gun. Okay, and what he wound up having to admit was actually just the opposite. Okay, some vendors called security on him when he was trying to get them to sell him a gun without a waiting period.
Yeah, he's Australian. It was
weird. There were several incidents. And what he wound up was he couldn't do it. It wasn't as easy as they make it sound. But again, the news does things like sensationalize the facts for ratings. Nobody's going to
viral media.
Nobody's going to tune in at 11 for some people don't follow the rules.
They really should call all of the news stations viral media. It really is what it is.
They should stop calling them media. They're about as much media as we are.
This isn't one station.
They have
against
microphones.
Another.
We have microphones. We are as legit as they are.
Yeah.
Damn right. And we're not legit at all.
But I thought we are.
No, we're not legit.
We're Jews.
We are legit Jews.
So we're in the
media.
This
is not legit media. Do not come looking to us for the hard-hitting facts.
Right.
We're giving you the hard guessing opinions.
But I believe in, and I think any rational person would agree to reasonable gun regulations. You know, those waiting periods, and what was this Obama era law that prevented mentally ill from getting guns? That's just been repealed. You're not helping yourselves. This isn't moving forward. This is taking a big step back, a lot of steps back.
My father, law-abiding citizen, he had guns. Your father, law-abiding citizen,
guns
he
are
had
amazing.
guns.
They are fascinating.
I cannot get a gun in New Jersey. Let's just call it a misspent youth, childhood or whatever. Nothing really major, but I got into a little bit of trouble, and there's a record of it. I went and did something foolish on my prom night. Okay, it's not like it was such a big deal, but I did something on my prom night, and I got into some trouble, and I was over 18, and there's a record of it. Okay, I cannot get a gun in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey is a state that has fairly strict gun policies. Okay, there is a federal check required. Okay, and that's just to own a gun. That's not even if you want to carry it. To get a carry permit in New Jersey is very difficult. You have to have some type of legit reason.
I think they have concealed carry now in Kansas.
You can get it in New Jersey, but you have to have a legit reason.
No, I think it's open to everyone. Kansas is very, very open.
Yes,
with guns.
New Jersey is
or
not
closed, I guess, concealed.
They talk about making it even harder. And here's my point. I could get guns in about 5 minutes back in New Jersey. It would take longer than it would take me about 5 minutes to contact someone and set up an arrangement for me to go somewhere and buy some guns, okay, and all sorts of illegal shit. Okay, I could get fully automatic max, and all this shit is available. Anyone can. I'm sure someone you could call. Okay, in Kansas, it's not difficult. So no matter how hard you make the gun laws. Okay, if you were to take everybody's guns, okay, and make it 100% illegal to own a gun, guess what? Criminals would still have guns.
And that's why you can't make them illegal.
Now, you don't see criminals
can't take people's guns away.
You don't see quote unquote, criminals with illegal guns going in and doing these mass murders.
However,
okay? Which is, 27, 37 people, 57, 200 people at how many people died in Las Vegas? 57, 58, something like that. Okay, that's huge. Okay, but then again, if you look at the statistics in Chicago, okay, in Las Vegas that happened once, and it won't happen again for a long time.
And in Texas, just now,
this happened with a legal gun. You look at what happened in Texas again. This happened with a legal gun. Okay, all of these things I'm sure were preventable. Somewhere along the lines, I'm sure there was a step that was bypassed, skipped, something that shouldn't have been. Someone broke a law allowing these people to get guns. There's no question about that.
And now there's actually a lot of conspiracy theories floating up around the Vegas shooter. I don't think I really believe those.
I have
what I understand
I
is
have a
he was
tendency
millionaire or
not
something.
to believe conspiracy theories until someone shows me proof that I'm going to believe.
No, they do say something about a second gunman. Okay, maybe it was his friend, but that doesn't make it a conspiracy. I don't doubt that there was a second shooter. There may well have been. And he may still well be out there.
I saw a post.
I don't make that a conspiracy. I think that's silly and just grasping at straws.
I saw a post saying like, "Oh, how could one person get all these guns into a room without people noticing?" And how did one person was shared an article about how did he manage to remove 800-pound hurricane-proof windows from the hotel? He shot them out, and I don't think they weighed 800 pounds anyway. It's not like he was sitting there and removed the windows. He shot through them. It's not very difficult.
I don't think the weight of the window makes much of a difference.
No, it makes absolutely no difference.
I don't know if that was the weight or the weight test, meaning that it would support 800 pounds.
Maybe.
Which a single point, as in a bullet, like, okay, an elephant's foot
is going
and
to
a
shatter
bullet
that.
are very different things. So
maybe again, this is a misdirection of the truth being used to fuel these conspiracy theories. A little bit of accuracy. Oh, it's an 800-pound test window, and then some people remove the word test or whatever.
Oh yeah,
weight whatever, and suddenly it becomes he removed an 800-pound window. Oh, how did one man remove an 800-pound window? It must have been multiple people in there. And suddenly you've got a conspiracy.
No,
now think about this. They talk about the timeline being off. Now, I bet if I look at my watch and your watch, okay, we might be off by a minute or two. I know from my watch and
I
my
think
clock.
We're set to the same, unless you're using network time.
Turn your phone on right now. I say 12:19 p.m.
I'm saying 12. I'm saying whatever I want to say. I'm saying 3:48.
Now, what time does it say?
A.M. 12:17.
See, there's 2 minutes there. So if me and you were both looking at our phone, our reports would be 2 minutes different. Now, my work is 2 minutes ahead of mine, so that would make it 4 minutes ahead of yours. So suddenly there's this huge 4 minutes difference. Wait a minute, there's 4 minutes unaccounted for in this timeline. That doesn't make any sense. There should be nothing unaccounted for. We've got cameras and cell phones and everything. Oh, wait a minute, but now we have a legitimate reason why we could be 4 minutes apart. And maybe I like to keep my phone a couple minutes fast so that I get everywhere early. But I don't really think about it because I'm just so used to always doing it that I report the time, and now I'm 9 minutes ahead of you. Holy shit, now there's 9 minutes. How many people could get killed in 9 minutes? What happened in those 9 minutes?
Let's do a check.
His head went back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Isn't there a dance for that?
I'm not necessarily, Mr. The government only, will tell us the truth. or
I'm certainly not. The government is for porn.
I'm not.
The government is for porn.
And I'm certainly not that. The media will tell the truth, but I have a tendency to
copyrighted.
Generally believe I'm going to believe the story that gets put out by the media before I'm going to believe some myconspiracytheory.blogspot.net free website.
But at the same time, the media on all sides always is tailoring every. You look at equal stories among different news outlets, from Fox to ABC to CNN to MSNBC to BBC to Sky to France 24 to any number of different stations. You're going to see completely different wording. They're going to say Hamas man was killed after a suicide bombing attempt or whatever. You'll see different so many stories told a different way. So how do you know who to believe? How do you know what to believe?
Okay. Well, okay. That's how we're gonna end that one.
I mean, we can literally go on forever about it, but there's no point.
No,
because nothing is going to change.
Look, show me some proof of something, and I'll believe it. Until then, I'm going to look at what is said, and I'm going to, make my own call on whether or not it's happened that way or not.
That's how that directive is sold to you.
Speaking about back and to the left, I've gone over the years. I have gone back and forth many times over the whole conspiracy theory with JFK.
JF kid.
Sometimes I'll watch a show and it'll have me convinced that it had to be a conspiracy, and then you watch something else and they show evidence and they put their spin on it, and suddenly it definitely was one man and everyone else has their facts wrong. So who the hell knows? I was really hoping. I really was hoping. This is a nice segue into something. That's almost something. I really was hoping that Trump was going to put out, release those JFK papers.
Of course not.
That really, I would have liked to see. That is, I have always been interested and watched all those History Channel specials on JFK. I would love to see those papers and find out what what's in them.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool, but I don't think we're ever going to see it, the whole story. At least, I don't know. Maybe we
might know the whole story. I mean, it might be as simple as one crazy dude.
Well, who was that guy who said on his deathbed, on his when he was dying, he said something about he
Rosebud
shot Kennedy, or he was on the team that shot Kennedy.
Was he a mobster or something like that, right?
No, he was a Navy SEAL, like for 1,000 years. No, he was not a Navy SEAL, but he was in the Army. He was a well-respected guy. And he had just been keeping this whole time. And I think he was still working for the military or for the government in whatever capacity.
I do not recall.
Yeah, there was this guy that was dying, and
Senator, I do not recall.
I don't know. What else is new?
Stuff.
Things?
And things. Yeah. Okay. Great. Cool. So we got about 12 minutes left, and we're at stuff and things.
Well, that's kind of usually how it
little
goes.
More show prep, guys.
You know what sucks here? There are not enough good snacks. Not American-style snacks.
You're pointing at a bag of American Hers. Wait, are they Hers?
Hers, yeah.
Hers cheese curls.
Did you have this in New Jersey?
Yeah, Hers. Yeah.
I never saw this in the States.
Oh.
In Kansas City.
It's a Jersey thing.
It's probably a New York thing. I think they're from Pennsylvania, from Philadelphia or something. Hanover? Snyder's of Hanover? We have Snyder's here.
Nottingham, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Or Pennsyltucky, as we like to call it.
Pennsyltucky? Why Pennsyltucky?
Because they're rednecks.
Okay. Like all of them? I know.
It's a slur.
I've never heard that.
I am slurring.
Should
people from Pennsylvania
scoot back up in your seat so you don't slur off of it. Yeah, no. I don't know why that reminded me of Bigelow Hollow. This lake, Bigelow Hollow. It was a lake in
Isn't that where
Connecticut?
Emmett Honors Jug Band was?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't hear you. What?
Do you know Emmett Otter's Jug Band?
Emmett Otter?
Yeah. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. You don't remember that?
No, I did not
All right, never mind.
remember. What is Emmett Otter's Jug Band?
Yes. It was a Christmas special. But from way
I still
back
haven't
in
seen the
day.
Star Wars Christmas special. I need to watch that.
You really do.
I have like it was never out on DVD, but I have a DVD like set. Like it's a VOB file, like the DVD files. But it's
Just go to YouTube.
No, it has
Yes.
the Muppet special with it as well. Yeah, there was a Muppet special also. Brilliant.
I'm sure I saw
there's
it.
an animated thing, which I thought was a part of the special to begin with. Like I thought it like that they cut away to this animated thing, but apparently it's like its own standalone thing, and something else which I haven't watched. I was meaning to do a screening.
I think there's also like a
with
Wookiee
some
Christmas, special.
the Wookiee, but that's part of the movie. It's part of the Christmas special. No.
I honestly I don't.
Or is that also
I
a
don't
separate?
remember.
But the whole
I saw
thing
them
is
back in the
them-
day when they were.
The whole
new.
thing is Wookiee, is Chewbacca and Chew Charles and Chew Phyllis and Chewbacca.
Don't remember.
It's like a Chewbacca goes to his family, and the whole thing is just back and forth, just like the four of them back and forth to each other.
I'm sure there was a reason why
for
I don't remember.
like 7 minutes or something, like uncomfortably long and awkward. So yeah, I definitely need to see that.
You do. You should stop with this podcast nonsense and watch that. Oh,
forever?
No. Yes, forever.
So yeah, I want to. Do we want to have guests? Are we gonna do that?
Where the hell would they sit?
Sit on your lap.
No. It would
They
really
would
get in the way
sit
of the mic.
somewhere else, and they would record it separately, and then send us the file, and then we would parse it.
I
on
would
our
say
side.
let's ask
We
people
actually
who
could
they
do
would
that.
like us to interview or what guests they would like, to do. But so far, every time we've asked people for any type of feedback, we have gotten exactly none.
Well, we need to ask it like in text and not in the podcast, because I don't know who.
As a matter of fact, I would
listened
like to congratulate you because this week we got our first comment on anything we've done. Kenny left us a.
yeah, he did.
Yes, he apparently
That was-
liked the rant about the media.
Which you
he
hated.
agreed with
which
you.
you hated.
I hate that. I disagree with it. We've had that argument many times, and
You make people believe whatever, and they're gonna believe it. You indoctrinate, whatever.
and
we
I
already
still
talked
say
about
that
it.
any media that we put out
So do
is just
nothing.
going to be seen
So
as
don't
propaganda.
even try.
I'm not saying
That's what you're
don't try.
That's what you're saying. Don't even try. Don't even bother because it's not going to work. Is it not worth a shot? Is it not worth investing serious time and energy into? Is killing
Yes,
a whole bunch of people going to do anything? Are they
Yes.
ever going to not retaliate?
when they're dead.
All of them?
Yes.
That's the only other out. Is killing an entire race.
I'm sorry. I want to make this 100% perfectly clear.
Because
I want this
they're
to be
being
perfectly
indoctrinated
clear.
to believe.
I don't want anyone. I do not want anyone to misunderstand what I am about to say. This war will continue until one side or the other is completely dead.
No.
Whether I agree that that's how it should be or not is a different subject. But I believe that this war will go on
I don't.
until one side is dead. I do not believe there will ever. I do not believe there will ever be an agreement over the Temple Mount, and as long as that Temple Mount issue remains,
not the way
there
things
will
are
never
right now.
be peace.
No, not the way things are right now. Until the Palestinian Mickey Mouse and the Barney that they have telling children to kill all the Jews, until they have those things stopped, we don't have things like that on our side. We don't have anybody indoctrinating our children to want to kill all the Arabs. We don't have anything like that. They do. We need to combat that because these children are growing up in a society, in an entire community, by a government that wants them to feel this way so that they can build an army. So it's not necessarily that all of these people need to die. They need to stop teaching them these things, which is their government. Their government is teaching them these things, and that needs to be stopped. It's not the people.
Religious fanatics
it's like
are
the Native
running
American, like the old story back in the Old West. You kill the chief, and the rest of the Indians will stop fighting or whatever. I don't know.
Religious fanatics are running the Palestinian government.
Yeah, that needs to stop.
They are running the school systems. They are in charge of the
UN
military.
is supporting that as well.
This will never end until one side or the other is gone. There will never be peace. I do not believe.
Ruling power,
I want peace. I would love to see peace. I have absolutely. I come from the United States.
The ruling
okay?
power needs to be ousted.
I come from the United States, and so do you. And where I come from, I'm not going to say there isn't racism and everything else, but we've learned, for the most part, except for some extremists, we have learned to live together. And I have no problem living next to Indians and blacks and Mexicans and rednecks and anyone else that is considered to be different. Okay,
let's play this
I
out,
don't
Steve.
care as long as they're nice and keep their shit nice, and they can be a good neighbor and say hi or whatever. I'm all for it. Live next to me, I'll live next to you. And all happy horse shit. Right. I don't care. So therefore, I have no problem with having a Muslim or Arab neighbor and living in a society where we intermingle, and they come to our shops and we go there on the weekend and get hummus. I do not believe so. I do not believe it will ever happen. I do not believe so.
What happens after you've killed the Palestinians?
Extremists on both sides, will continue this war.
What happens when you've killed all the Palestinians? Let's say you do.
I'm sorry. I don't think I didn't say Palestinians.
All Arabs? It's 1 billion of them.
No, all Arabs aren't Muslims, but I do believe
all Muslims.
I do believe, as long as there are Muslims on this planet and Jews on this planet, and both believe that the Temple Mount is theirs by right, this war will continue. And I don't see either side willing to give that up ever. And that's the source of this entire thing.
There's no ruling parties that believe that way. At least not right now.
What ruling parties don't believe that way?
That it can be shared.
Correct. Nobody thinks it can be shared.
The leaders.
Right. The leaders, absolutely 100% do not agree.
Not the populace, not the civilians.
Yeah.
Unless except for the ones who have been indoctrinated to believe this
all
way.
The religious people on both sides. That's what you mean. Oh, Jews too. Jews are very much willing to go and fight for the security of Jerusalem. If Muslim,
for the chance to not for the chance to share. We know that that's not a possibility because on the other side there's so much more indoctrinated and so much more brainwashed, if you will, by this viral media and these Mickey Mouse characters and these commercials saying kill all the Jews. When you're grown up with that, you have this seething hate, and that seething hate does not permit anything else in. We don't really have that seething hate in the same way. On our side, it's more protecting ourselves from that. We know that if we allow them in, we allow them in whatever situation, whatever agreement or whatever treaty, they will take advantage of it because that's what's always been happening.
Sure.
So it's not them. It's the ones who are making the treaties, but it's
you're
not the
talking
people
about
who
symptoms, and I'm talking about the root cause. The root cause for
is
not
the entire population. The root cause is the ruling parties.
The ruling
parties need to be ousted.
Of this conflict is over the Temple Mount. It's a religious issue. The religious people on either side are not going to be willing to share.
I think if we truly believed that we could share it equally, and we could have access to it, and the Muslims could have access to it as well, I think there would be. But we can't trust that that's possible because we don't have a good history on this.
From my understanding, I mean, nobody knows 100%, but it's my understanding that the Holies of Holies is now inside of what is the Dome. I always get the two confused. I don't know which one. So I don't know if it's the Dome of the Rock or
the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Or the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay, but literally, for us to be able to rebuild our temple, one of those two has to be destroyed. Now,
is the requirement that we build our temple, or we? I don't know that we. Well, I guess.
The goal is to rebuild the temple,
but
it is expected to be rebuilt exactly on the spot where it once was.
That
is the holy spot.
I'm not saying
there's a reason it was built there.
Are there certain tribes that are not allowed on the Temple Mount at all? I know the Kohanim in the Kohanim, like
the Kohanim, and I think
the ancients,
like the people who are like now cats. I think they were also
it's like Levites or something are not supposed to go on the Temple Mount.
Yeah, the Cohens and cats, I think, is also were people who were some level of priests
kittens?
or something like that.
I think there's a lot of cats
up
there.
And the puppies and the butterflies.
Cool.
No, but I think there's a lot of Jews named Katz, and I do believe that Katz was someone like the Cohen, the Kohanim. I don't know exactly, but I heard this somewhere, and I'm pretty sure that they are also not allowed. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass here, but that's not the point. The point is that I believe that neither side is going to be willing to give up their control. The Muslims aren't going to give up control of it, and if we were to try and retake it and claim it as ours, I believe that would cause an apocalyptic, catastrophic war.
I think there's a gray area between there, though.
I also think that if the Muslims, let's say, were to decide that they are going to overtake Jerusalem and kill out all the Jews and everything else, I think that every Jew in Israel, for sure, including you, I'm sure, would be jumping on a bus, a car, a truck, or whatever, to go and defend Jerusalem with your life.
I think there could be a gray area, though.
I think when you sit down and talk
I don't
to
exactly
people,
know.
I think if you sit down on the 11 talking you and me to the equivalent of you and me on the Palestinian or the Muslim side or whatever, sure, something can be agreed upon. But then I do not believe that the religious, not just the religious fanatics, okay, when it comes down to
in reality,
I think
they kind of live in a fascist society where they don't really have access to information. They don't really have access to information like you and I do.
Look, I'm not even talking about the section that believe that the internet isn't kosher and don't have cell phone. I'm not just talking about like the crazy fanatics. I'm saying that just the average Orthodox Jew isn't going to allow for us to give up the Temple Mount and to give away any chance of building the third temple.
Not giving it away, not relinquishing any of the power that we have over it now,
which is very little.
But we do have power over it.
Very little.
Not relinquishing anything.
We don't even have the power to put up a metal detector.
Not relinquishing anything.
Camera.
Not relinquishing anything, but maybe even gaining a little bit more. If we were dealing with fucking reasonable people, we would be able to have a compromise. We would be able to have. I don't see any situation where we've never tried to reach out, tried to compromise, tried to reason. There is no leeway on the other side.
There's a reason why the Oslo Accords fell.
I forget who it was who said this. Yes, we will agree to a ceasefire for 10 years, after which we will continue to try to destroy you.
Yeah.
Like, that is not a fucking reasonable agreement.
No. But that's the only thing we could get.
And that is the ruling people who believe
ceasefire.
this way. And they're making they're loving the power that they have.
Look,
I'm sure they're making a lot of money keeping their people impoverished, which is happening all over the world, obviously. But
the reason why the Oslo Accords fell, okay, was because we sat there and we negotiated, okay, you're going to have your soldiers in this area and we're going to have our soldiers in this area in the West Bank and we're going to keep them, and we'll talk and we'll have the checkpoints open and produce and things, and people can come in and we'll give work permits in the hospitals and everything else. And there was all these agreements. But the one major agreement is the Temple Mount. It's the one thing that they don't discuss. They always say the same thing. The Temple Mount will be in the later discussions, because it's the one fucking thing that everyone knows will
build up to it.
You can agree to everything. You could possibly. Now let's remind you that
you can't allow yourself to be worked over too much.
Let's also agree that the Palestinians have never given anything up, okay, at the negotiating table. They've never agreed to lose anything.
Right.
They've only agreed
we've been pushovers through all
to
this.
take. They've been willing to take Gaza and the West Bank. They've been willing to take and be given a government. They've been willing to take arms and money and everything. They've never actually given anything back. They've never given a promise of peace. They've never given any assurances. They've never nothing. Arafat went around and arrested a whole bunch of Hamas criminals and everything else because it was convenient for him and everything else, and it helped him establish his power. As soon as it became convenient again,
as
soon as Israel was no longer giving him any concessions, okay, it was no longer convenient for him to stop the fighting. So what did he do? He opened up the prisons and said, "Oh my God, a couple of hundred Hamas members escaped."
Listen, here's the deal. They're dictators. You're looking at them like they're a president or a prime minister. They're not. A president and a prime minister, for the most part, at least acts like they have the interest of the populace in their mind, in their intentions.
I'm not talking about their leaders.
But dictators, those are the ones who are making these decisions. These are the ones who
I'm talking
dictators.
about the religious.
Hang on. Dictators and the people who serve their bidding serve their own interests. They serve power. They serve their power, doing whatever they can to ensure that they continue to have power. What fucking Kim Jong-un is the world's biggest consumer of Hennessy.
Oh.
Like, come on, what the fuck, man? This is what dictators do. They just want power. They want to be the biggest. That's what they're in for.
But I'm not talking about their leaders. This has nothing to do with an Arafat,
but also those
or
doing
Abbas,
their bidding.
Okay, this has to do with the people who have the real power, the leaders of Hezbollah, the leaders of Hamas. Okay?
Yeah, those are dictators too. All of these people, they're in it for themselves.
These guys are religious fanatics.
I don't think it's as much. It is definitely based on religion. It's centralized on religion, but it's not coming. That's not the only motive. That's not the only drive here. The main drive is
go around tomorrow.
power.
Do you work with any yarmulke wearers? I'm not talking beards and white and black hats. Okay, I mean just your average guy. Shomer Shabbos wears a yarmulke.
But I do work with some Jewish guys. Some
Well,
Jewish
you probably
guys.
work with a lot of Jewish guys.
I do.
Okay, but you know some yarmulke wearers, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and I'm not talking heavy religious. Ask them if they would be willing to share the Temple Mount, if it meant that they would not be able to rebuild the temple on the spot, that we would not have the holies of holies.
Listen, this would be you can't fucking jump into the pool in the deep end. You have to gradually move into it. Okay, so you get some more and you get some more. What have they been doing? They've been fucking picking off this country, try to pick off the Golan Heights, the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza, the West Bank. Come on, what the fuck do you think they're doing? We have to
trying to kill us. That's what I think they're doing. That's what they're trying to do. They want to kill us.
Pieces. Little pieces. We're trying to ask for the whole cake or nothing.
If you give them
all
something,
or nothing is what we want.
If you say like this, hey, do you want this donut? They're saying, yeah, I'll take that donut. That doesn't mean that they don't want all the fucking donut. No, you're going to give me that donut? All right, I'll take that donut. And
so
then
take
I'll
what you can get.
Kill you and
take what you can get, man. Like
They want it all. It's like you said, they want it all.
So do we.
Exactly. And not just
so
the leaders.
Stop wanting it all.
It's not going to work that way.
Make
it's
compromises.
A religious thing.
Neither of us fucking compromise on anything.
It's a religious thing. You can compromise
on
all
we do compromise.
Shit.
We give up so much.
You can compromise on the West Bank and giving them 60% of this land in return for 50% of that, and blah, blah, blah. All that shit can be compromised. We proved it.
We want the entire Temple Mount right now in one go. No, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get it all in one fucking go. You have to ease into it.
Oh, so we'll just build it next door. We'll build a temple next door to your mosque.
No, you don't fucking build
a
temple right now. You're not ready. You don't have
to be fair if you shared it. We can't build a temple next to their mosque.
Right
Why
now.
not?
You don't have it yet.
Why not? Why can't we
slow
share
down?
It? Why can't we
slow
share
down?
it?
Slow down. Step by step.
Why can't we share it? Okay, can we go up there and pray? Can we go up there and daven?
Okay.
Is that allowed? It's not.
Is it?
It is
for
not.
Anyone.
You
for
are.
Anyone.
No, Muslims are allowed. Jews are not allowed to go up there and pray.
No, by Jewish law or
no. The whatever the hell they're called, the Muslim police that take care of the Temple Mount will forcibly remove you. You will get hurt.
Okay, so that's not okay. That's something to compromise on. You don't need full control at the very beginning. You don't just. Jesus Christ, man! Like you have to ease into it. You can't just shove your way in there. That is not going to work. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked.
I'm not saying shove our way in. I'm saying a fair compromise. A fair
step by
hold on.
Step.
A fair compromise would be that we should be able to build a temple next to the mosque.
That's not happening right now.
No, I'm not.
But we don't want that.
That would be a fair solution.
But we don't want that right now.
We
don't want to build a temple next to the
No, we want the mosque. We want to tear down the mosque so we can build it over what I'm assuming
that's not going to happen right now. That is nobody anywhere in the world would agree to.
I guess it's the
giving
Dome
up
of the Rock
entire
because
thing.
I believe the Holy of Holies is supposed to be over.
Is the rock?
That's supposed to be Abraham's rock.
That's the rock
where he sacrificed. Was about to.
Nobody in any country anywhere ever would just agree to giving up the entire thing all at once like that.
We're not talking giving up. I said sharing.
Even sharing it all at once like that. You have to fucking ease into it. You have to step into it. You can't just jump straight in, man. Like
look at it like this.
What don't you understand
right,
that
let me ask you a
everybody else doesn't understand?
If you did not want me to have something, would you be willing to let me use it?
I would be willing to.
No, if you did
compromise.
not want me to, no, they are. Have they ever shown a willingness to compromise?
That's the issue.
Have they ever showed? They will not.
Jesus Christ!
There are many Jews. There are many Jews that are absolutely not
and now
willing
we're stepping
to compromise.
back another 10 minutes to where we were talking about the ruling power. That is not.
You're talking about
bending.
steps. I'm telling you, we'll never even get to. We'll never get to that point. Never.
So
right now.
So take your best shot at 1 billion people.
I did not say that I thought that was what we should do. I said that's the only way this war is going to end.
You have no other choice. So it's either die or do nothing. You have no other choice.
Well, if shooting
try
starts,
to compromise.
If shooting starts, what are you going to do? Say, hey, I'm a neutral party. I believe there should be compromise. Or are you going to start shooting back?
What?
If the shooting were to start,
all right, we're just going on around in circles, and
well, we can, yeah, you're right, but we're never going to come up with a solution for this. But my point is still the same thing. I happen to believe that it would not be in the best interest of the Muslim people who want to control the Temple Mount to share it with us. Right now, they control it. We are not allowed to pray up there. How are you going to make it in their best interest?
I'm not the fucking politician.
What they feel is their best interest is keeping control of the Temple Mount.
That's the only thing that they want?
Yes.
No. There's nothing else that they want.
And they're willing to kill us to get it.
There's nothing else that they
want.
They'll
take everything. But that's what they want. That's what they have.
Okay, great. Let's go.
I'm not saying that I disagree with you that we should make little steps and compromises and
that's
everything
what I'm
else
saying.
along the way.
So just,
what I'm saying is
I
don't think we'll ever get to that point. I don't think we shouldn't try. We should absolutely try. I'm saying I don't think it will ever show any results. Ever. I think this war is going to continue until one side or the other is dead. Or it will just continue until the end of time.
Well, no.
When both sides die.
A lot of people are going to die before it's over.
Eventually the sun will blow up
but that doesn't mean
off or whatever
that
it's
never
do.
Going to end.
And the ozone will be gone and the
I think you're wrong.
green things will be dead.
I think you're wrong.
And We'll all die, and then there'll be no
think
more
you're wrong.
war. Okay, you can feel that way.
I think I argued my point.
I would like to be wrong. I would like there to be peace. I would love to see peace. I would love to be able to visit.
But you have the mindset already of not wanting peace.
No, it has nothing to do with not wanting. I want peace.
I don't know. It sounds like you don't. You have
no
hope for it, and you don't.
I'll put it like this, James. From what I've seen in my lifetime with this war, I don't see an end happening.
I've interacted with a lot of people who really do see what it's like, who grew up in the West Bank, in Ramallah, or in Gaza City, or in whatever other Arab village.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people who grew up with it and who know what it's like.
Okay. And?
I'm not saying what I say because I don't think that there is a chance. There are people and there are resistances. There are people who do feel that there is a peaceful way around this.
Sure there are.
There are our equivalents on the other side. They're few and far between because they are all living in such a powerful machine that's pumping out this hateful youth. That is what needs to be stopped.
You're talking about two societies that are both run by religion.
When that is stopped, apples and fucking oranges. If you're going to say that we are bred the same way, in that we are taught to kill all the Arabs.
I didn't say that we were taught to kill all the Arabs.
So is there a difference?
Between what?
Between the way the Jews are brought up and the way the Jews feel about the land and the way the Arabs feel about the land. Do you see the difference in how they're taught to feel about the country and the land?
Yeah, I agree with what
you're
saying. So
that is what needs to be stopped. When that can be stopped, when that is shown to the world, when the world starts to see what these people are taught and why they're led to believe things the way that they are, and why children are walking around with fake machine guns, getting ready to kill some Jews. When the world starts to see what's happening there, then we're just going back to last week's discussion. Then we can start to show the world what's really going on, and they're going to these Arab leaders, the ones who are depending on world opinion, are going to stop having that world opinion on their side. And they're really going to have no choice. They're not going to be as powerful. They're not going to have as much control over their people, or whether they're within their boundaries, within their borders, or outside. They're not going to have the same control.
All right, we're 17 minutes past. I got one question for you. Is it possible in Israel to form a government without the religious involved in your government? Is it possible to have a coalition without the religious parties? No, because that's why everyone always knows that the religion always get their way, because without them you can't have a coalition. And it's no different. It's no different on there because that's the way it always is. In all of the government, because the way our government is set up, you have to have all these different parties, and the way it always works out is it always seems to be the religious parties that always hold the swing vote. Therefore, that's why that's why groups like Shas and these other religious parties get so much power. Okay, because without them, you're not going to be able to form a coalition. Without your coalition, the other side gets to try and form a coalition after an election. That's how it works in a parliamentary system. And that's why they always cow down, and that's why the religious always get their way. That's why it's so hard to it was such a big deal when they made it okay for the AM, PM, and the mini markets to be open on Shabbos in Tel Aviv. It's why you can't have buses running, because the religious run this country. They have the most powerful say, because without them you can't form a coalition. Your government will fall apart without them. Okay? And it's no different on the other side. The religious fanatics, okay, the people who do not give a rat's ass about creating a better life for their children. All they care about is dying in the name of Allah. Just like there are many Jews out there that are willing to die to protect to get back the Temple Mount. That is our religious right.
No.
It is our right. It is our
way.
destiny.
definitely
to get
not,
that back.
Definitely not the same. You're saying that we have suicide bombers? That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
No,
be careful. Exactly.
No, not yet.
Exactly. Different extremes. Different things. This is a different
I don't
society.
Think it would take
a
much.
different upbringing.
I don't
that's
think
leading
it would take
people
much.
to be willing to blow themselves up.
There have been cases of Jewish religious
so
extremists.
Fucking different.
There have been cases in the last 20 years of religious extremists getting caught trying to planning bombings of one of the mosques. Yes, Jewish groups.
How many?
Not many. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying the numbers are equal by any means, but you do agree that we have our fanatics, just like they do.
This is a very, very, very different type of fanatic, though. You're walking a dangerous line. You know what you're talking about.
You know damn well that there are Jews out there that are willing to kill and whatever. The Temple Mount is the holiest thing. Okay, you understand that Jerusalem is the holiest thing, and their life, everything they do of spending every day reading the Torah and everything else is all based on God, and they are so into it that nothing else matters.
Talk percentages, man. Talk percentages of Jews that have done this, and talk percentages of the fellas that came out of the West Bank with some bomb wrapped around themselves.
It's not as simple as us just sitting here and saying, "Hey, man, let's just take these baby steps and try and agree on some things and be all friends." It's not an agree upon.
Yes, it is.
So okay, you're right. I agree to that. So let's just call it quits here. We're an hour and 20 minutes. And
we're sorry for wasting one person's
time.
Thanks
if anyone happens to listen to all of this nonsense. And thanks for